Okay, so Hebrews chapter 1, verse 4, being made so much better than the angels, he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. Okay. Here's trouble. Hello, Diane. Okay, I don't know what happened here. It says I'm on another call, but I'm not. This is stupid. I can't win with this technology. It just holds me up. It's all it does. Okay, so I'm in the second sentence. In the Old Testament, the expression "the angel of the Lord," or sometimes the angel of God, usually implies the presence of deity in angelic form. All right, now the one I want to use, because it is most prominent, in my opinion. Okay, she's not answering. I look in the book of Genesis, chapter 22. And I think we touched on this. This is with Abraham. Genesis, chapter 22. God's dealing with Abraham. And he tells him to offer up Isaac as a burnt offering. And he goes through all of that motion. And he's got the knife up to slay. What's going on in the background? And in verse 10, it says, Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And you see this expression, and the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know you fear God, seeing thou hast withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place Jehovah Jireh. That means the Lord will provide. As it is said, to this day in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. Now, this is what you want to note. This particular angel is making a covenant. Now, that can't be one of the angelic beings or cherubim, seraphim, the wheels in Ezekiel, the four living creatures. Notice, and the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time. And he said, By myself have I sworn. Now, no angels can be doing that. You see, that's your key there. No angel can do that. Only God can do that. For because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee. And in multiplying, I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Now that's the gospel of the promise. The seed of faith. And the nations of the earth be blessed because thou hast obeyed my voice. So angels are not there for us to obey. I've lost him. This is not going well this morning. Okay, Brian, are you there?
Yes, Pastor, I'm there.
Okay, where is James?
Maybe the network is disturbing him, and then she's telling me here on WhatsApp where she stays at Nasana. The network it's not clear, so the next time when it's coming on Zoom, you will get another place that he hosts the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, Pastor.
Let's go ahead. Look in the book. Go back to our note. Well, no, I'm not going to do it on Saturdays because when I did it on Saturdays, you guys weren't showing up. So that's why we moved it to Sunday so that you could use Saturday to get everything put aside. Right?
Yeah. Now, but these days is Sunday. It's also fixed because they open the church. So then people they are from church lunch. So you know that the situation by this evening hours.
Okay, hang on a minute. Diana, do I have you? Diana? Okay. All right, we'll try this again next week because we're just not getting anywhere. There's going to be weeks.
Okay.
Going to be weeks like this. Yeah, I'm not changing it back again. No, because you guys didn't. You weren't there. So yeah. So we're going to continue to work on Sunday. Work on Saturday. So we're open on Sunday. Okay.
Okay, Pastor.
Okay, now I want to talk to you a minute. I know you struggle with English. Can you get a study partner?
Okay. Yes.
Is Ivan near you?
Ivan is in Bamba. It's not near with me.
Well, where are you now?
I'm at home, my place.
Which is where?
And Imperi, where I stay.
All right, is there somebody that can share English with you nearby?
Yeah.
Okay, try to get a study partner and begin to move through the theology and reading, okay?
Yes.
Because that's the best I can come up with.
Okay, Pastor.
Yeah. I know that there's apps out there. If I could just think of the one I had in mind. They teach you how to speak in it. Reading it, understanding is another thing. All right, I got James back.
Okay.
All right. I think I have. No, guess I don't. Yep, nope. Yes. All right, James, are you back with me?
Yes, Pastor.
All right, we read about the angel reaffirming the covenant. And any angel cannot do that and swear by the Lord, he being the Lord himself. So so that's what we want to be sure, so we don't make every time an angel comes up in the Old Testament, oh, that's a theophany. No, it has to have the character and the mark, if you will, or the work of God that's clear that that's the angel of the Lord. Okay, let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 3. I'm using the most obvious ones first to kind of warm us up, and I want to make sure that we follow this note clearly. Exodus, what did I say it was? Okay, actually.
Chapter 3, you said chapter 3?
Yeah, chapter 3 and in verse 2. This is Moses and the burning bush. Okay? All right. And God is acting on the covenant that he has already given. And that covenant there on the mount, and it was that period of time that God had prophesied to Abraham that had now come to bear concerning their bondage to this people. Now verse 2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked and beheld, the bush burned with fire, but the bush was not consumed. So we have an unnatural situation. This is a supernatural situation. That's what miracles were for Jesus Christ. They were supernatural situations, and there could be no other explanation. Now that's what miracles are for. Miracles aren't to have miracle meetings. You know, you get these guys, they put on we're going to have miracles. Well, God decides when there's going to be a miracle, not men. Okay, and it ought to be in adjacent to his will. Now, in verse 3, and Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. Who wouldn't? And in verse 4, and when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not here, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Now an angel might say that, but not because of his own presence. And this is a preview of the fire that would appear in the wilderness later with the nation. Okay? Remember, at night it was by the pillar of fire, by the day the cloudy pillar?
Yes.
Okay. Now in verse 5, and he said, Draw not near, put off thy shoes. Now verse 6, moreover he said, I am the God of thy father. Okay, now this isn't any normal angel. Okay. This identification is clear. I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. Okay, this angel is who?
God.
God. The context bears it out. Now, we call this a pre-incarnate manifestation. A pre-incarnate manifestation. And the Lord said, I've already seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I've heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. And he goes on to basically reiterate the covenant and also to reconfirm the prophecy. And then commission Moses to do the work of delivering the exodus of Israel. Okay, so you can see there the context just comes right out and said, this angel is God. Okay, so that is what we call a pre-incarnate manifestation. Okay, let's go back to our note, which I hope we have in our booklets. Okay, I hope we have this note in our booklets because it teaches you about Satan and the demons, but it doesn't teach you angelology. And we call that an imbalance. Okay, yeah, we don't want to ever have imbalanced teaching. Okay, now, James, let's look in the book of Genesis. Some of these are rather clear. Some are not as clear. I've tried to use the ones that are very clear. Let's look in Genesis chapter 16. Genesis 16. Now this one, Genesis 16. And notice in chapter 16, let's look in verse 1. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my handmaid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram, and dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. You got to know that plan's going to backfire. Got to know that. And he went in, it's not going to work. Went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes, naturally. And Sarai said unto Abram, The wrong done by me be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, it was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. And Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. Well, God's going to intervene here because this is messing around with the seed of faith. Okay? And note how this whole thing, note the way it's done. Note that the woman is telling the man what to do, then turns around and despises it, and then he turns around and hands it over. This is a mess. This is kind of like the garden, right? No, the snake made me do it. No, my wife made me do it. You know, here we go. That's what happens. All right, now verse 7. This is a mess. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, from where camest thou, and where wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, and it shall not be numbered for multitude. And that's the Arabs. How do you like that plan? But I want you to notice that the Lord is gracious, merciful, and even with his judgment. His servants are out of line. I mean, way out of line. But yet God has to be merciful here. And the angel said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. Now verse 11, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. In his hand will be against every man. Now, boy, isn't that true? And every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord who spoke unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here seen him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Beer-le-hai-roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called his name, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abraham. Of course, this ends up causing a lot of trouble later. All right. Notice the angel of the Lord intervenes here. And then promises and covenants with Hagar concerning the future. Okay. Let's look in chapter, in the book of Genesis 21. Genesis chapter 21. (17 through 19). Genesis 21, 17 through 19. Let's see, the bondwoman. Let's look in verse 12, 21:12. And God said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. The promise is through Isaac. The gospel is the gospel of the promise. The seed is the seed of faith. So we have to understand that, right? All right, now notice. Okay, now notice. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and gave her the child and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. Okay, Look in verse 17. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of the Lord called unto Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, and I will make of him a great nation. And we see God works with Hagar in the wilderness on their behalf, and that promise is given to them. All right, Exodus chapter 31. Now this one should be, ought to be, I'm sorry, Exodus. I meant Genesis. Genesis 31. 31:11. Genesis 31:11. This is Jacob and trying to deal with his father-in-law Laban, and I'm not sure which guy was the worst car salesman, whether it was Jacob or Laban. These guys were something else to each other. One was always trying to out-scheme the other one. They were schemers, both of them. In verse 11, and the angel of God spoke unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and he said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes and see all the rams, which leap upon the cattle are striped, speckled and spotted, for I've seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I'm the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. When you read the rest of this and how God straightens everything out, you can see, and again, God is acting on the behalf of the seed of faith. So you can see how that things are being arranged by him. All right, let's look in Judges. I'm very sorry. Judges chapter 2.
Chapter 2 verse.
Yeah, Judges chapter 2:1. Judges chapter 2. Come on. All right. Now we have this next generation after Joshua. We see that they have forgotten the Lord, that they're worshiping Ashtaroth and Baal and the idols of the land. And they've already accepted the inheritance, they're in the land, and they're not following the Lord. All right, now Judges chapter 2:1. And the angel of the Lord came. Now, see, here's another note. You always want to take note of the notes, okay? It says the particular angel is distinguished in Scripture from all others, is often referred to in the Old Testament. And you have these almost reiterated here. He is named the angel of the Lord Jehovah, the angel of God, the angel of his God's presence, and probably the messenger angel of the covenant, Malachi 3:1. He is clearly identified with the Lord himself in his self-manifestation to men. In Genesis 31:11 through 13, the angel said to Jacob, I am the God of Bethel. And the same angel said to Moses, I am the God of thy fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, this note is very important because it underscores or defines what these pre-incarnate manifestations and how it qualifies them as such. So in your booklet, where it has notes, you will want to give this note too, because this is an excellent explanation. Okay? James?
Okay,
Yes,
Pastor.
Pastor.
Okay, you
we
guys,
are okay.
y'all better pay attention, not be napping on me over there. All
We
right.
are, Pastor.
All right, now in Judges 2:1, and an angel, now see that might throw you, came up from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I made you go up out of Egypt. Well, now, no angel did that. Only God did that, right? And I have brought you unto the land which I swore to give to your fathers. Now, you see the eyes here?
Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, who swore the covenant?
God.
God did. Okay, there you are. That's what I want you to see. And I want you to be keen too. I swore to give unto your fathers, and I said, I will never break my covenant with you, and ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of the land. Ye shall throw down their altars, but ye've not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this? Now I lost them over time. I can't win today, boy. Sometimes this is frustrating. Okay. That's enough on that one. That's pretty clear. All right, let's get back to Hebrews chapter 1. So when I get them back, start. I got to hit start. I can't get them back. Thank you for mowing the grass.
Mowing the grass?
Carpet. Oh, come on. Man, they act like I got all day. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, James, do I have you back?
Yes, we're back.
All right, Malachi 3:1. There's a note in Malachi. I want us to add that note to our angelology note, which really I'm kind of just giving to you. Now, this is where this particular prophet, really, he comes and the Levites are out working in the field rather than working in the tabernacle. And they're supposed to be in the tabernacle. And we find out that they all went on a permanent vacation from rebuilding Jerusalem. And we have a real bad attitude with these guys. Oh, by what way have we done this? All right, now, Malachi 3:1. He says, Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. Now you have a number 2 in front of Jehovah, Lord. Follow it down in your Schofield Bible. Number 2, first part, number 1 quoted John the Baptist. But the next words, the Lord whom ye seek, etc., are nowhere quoted in the New Testament. The reason is obviously that in everything, Christ's first advent, the picture in 2 through 5, the Lord who suddenly comes with his temple, capital T, is one of the judgment, not of grace. Malachi is in common, separating with the other Old Testament prophets, saw both events of Messiah blended in one horizon. Now that's something you got to learn about prophecy. You can have 2 comings in one verse, separated by a semicolon. And that's what you got here. This is about God, not an angel. But did not see the separating interval described in Matthew 13, which was subsequent upon the rejection of the king. So that's another note. Unfortunately, I got to go because I got to get ready for the next service, okay? So that pretty much takes that one subject. Okay, James? Hello, James? Okay.